take a
really
minute
have
back
to work
into
hard.
your past before politics.
Yes.
Where were you born? Did you where you are today? Did you envisage it? Let me in. How was growing up for you like? Do you have siblings?
Well, yeah, I grew up. I was born in Georgia, in Ketu North, and so when you go to Ketu North, another name that many of the old ladies and the older folks call me is Georgia Kobla because a Tuesday born in Georgia, and then there were many other Koblers in the house, and so in order to distinguish between Edem or between me and the other Koblers, they added Georgia because I was born in Georgia, and I started schooling right there in Ketu North. Then I came to Accra. My JSS was at Baolishi Presby JSS, the school just around the corner. You see it all the time. At the time, it wasn't even as developed as we see it today. We were running morning and afternoon shifts.
Oh, you were part of the people that went to school on shift.
Yes, yeah, I was part of the shift system until recently that the NDC introduced the Millennium School project that replaced that there. So I went to Baolishi Junior High School, went to Maoli School in Ho, and then I came to the University of Ghana. I can say, growing up, I had a very normal village boy experience. I was selling kerosene after school because at the time my community was not connected to the national grid, and so people were using the lantern, the one that you use kerosene and all that. So kerosene was a very, very good business at the time, and so I was selling kerosene. After school, I'll play football, still make time to take the animals to
graze?
To graze. And I was doing all of that just as a normal boy. And I'm the only boy of my parents. We are three. I have two sisters. I'm the second born. So normal village boy, kind of growing up. Never knew anything about cartoons until recently. Never knew anything about movies. And so my childhood was not one of those that I see these days. Cartoons, playing with toys and all of that. The only toys we were introduced to at the time was socks ball. You know, you get socks and you stuff it with rags and other things to make a ball.
Yes.
Those are the toys that we were interested in at the time. And so I didn't have, that was just me growing up. But my dad, who was a driver until he passed in 2017, told me that right from childhood, I used to stand up to bullies. And even though I'm a very respectful, very humble person, I never liked to be intimidated or bullied by anyone. And so I used to fight people in school and all that. These are stories that my dad and my teachers from business school tell me all the time, that I was a quiet student until provoked by someone and all of that. So when I got to senior high school, it was same. The only time I engaged in a fight in senior high school was when a senior student, unjustifiably punishment, I refused to take his orders, and he wanted to get violent, and I retaliated, got to school management, they investigated and realized that it wasn't my fault. But growing up, I learned how to stand up for myself. And I'm sure that is one of the things that got me into leadership, because when you do that, people around you begin to have so much confidence in you. So anytime there's a problem and they need somebody to speak for them, they will say, let's send Agbana. When he goes, he can negotiate and all of that. And so I started occupying student leadership positions right from basic school. Senior high school, I was a house prefect. And when I got to the University of Ghana, got myself engaged in debates and other activities, and ended up becoming the SRC president of the University of
Just
of
where I
Ghana.
want us to get to.
Yes.
Did you win
That's all.
one time?
Yeah, it was a one-touch
really?
victory. Yeah, one touch victory.
And the people that you contested against,
Yeah.
did you stand a chance? Was it keenly contested?
It was a keenly contested election, very keenly contested.
It looks like you have had
and-
very tough elections.
Yeah, I've never had an easy election. I don't know why. Maybe my next primaries, I pray that it's
Maybe
easier. But I've never had an easy election, and so I contested with three others, and two of them were in my class, and then two as well were in the same hall with me, Mensa Sabah Hall.
Okay.
And so usually when you are going into elections, you go with a constituency, either your class or your hall. But here is the case: you are in a contest where you are sharing the same class with two of your opponents, the same hall with two of your opponents again. And then sometimes old school counts. I looked around, my running mate was from Ekwamumine Senior High School.
Okay.
I'm not even sure they were up to 20 at the time in school. And I came from Mauli School.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't have the kind of numbers that people from Achimota, I contested against somebody from Presec. And so they had all of those merits going into the election. But we gave it our all. And by God's grace, I won. It was a one-touch victory. I believe it was a well-deserved victory because at the time, I campaigned so hard that almost every room on Legon campus, I literally could identify the students living in those rooms because for some of those rooms, I entered there 4, 5, 6, or 7 times to campaign to them.
Were there days that you thought, you know what, let me just leave this?
Yes.
People make it difficult for you to want to be their leader.
Yes, sometimes. I mean, especially in the university environment. Sometimes you go to a room or you go to a class to speak to students, and after putting forward your vision and all that you want to do, somebody can just raise their hand and say, still here and two. So why did you ask me to? I mean, you allowed me to speak and you ask questions, and after that somebody will just
Do you
say,
speak Tree generally? Do you speak?
No, but that's.
Do you understand
basically
the still here
are-
and two?
Yes, still here and two, meaning that still will not vote. And sometimes you get discouraged, you know. And I recall there was an incident. There was an incident that I got when I left the room. I got so angry, but she's my friend now, and I entered the room.
Let's
to
call her
campaign.
out. Who's this person?
Yeah, so I entered the room to campaign, and she allowed me to talk. And she was asking so many questions, even when her roommates said they were satisfied with the answers that I was giving. She kept asking so many questions, and you know, I needed to decide whether to remain and answer all these questions or proceed with the campaign because she was wasting my time. I was patient, spent all the time with her answering all her questions. And when I finished, she said, "Oh, Michael is my church member, so there's no way I'll vote for you." And Michael was one of our opponents. I was like,
would you say that student elections is more brutal than the national elections?
Student elections sometimes
brutal, huh?
can be very brutal. And there are several affiliations that comes to play. Even your church, your denomination comes to play. If you
That
are
sounds like
contesting-
American politics.
Yes, your denomination comes to play. And so, for example, if you are in Legon and you're contesting for SRC president and your opponent is a member of PENSA, please go back and pray again. Because PENSA, Pentecost students, at the time, I don't know what the numbers are now, but at the time they had the numbers.
And they still have numbers.
And they make it a project. And so you can go there waiting to speak to them after service. And as part of the service, they are preaching to the students that don't forget one of our members, Elder Michael, is in the contest. And you know.
Interesting.
Yes,
Those were interesting days.
That's how you recall